Tom Cotton is targeting school curriculum that emphasizes slavery in America and has threatened to cut school funding for schools who do teach that curriculum. Now, the curriculum he's referring to is something that's been incredibly controversial for right-wingers for obvious reasons. It is the 1619 project that started last year by the New York Times. These essays have been published in New York Times Magazine. I highly recommend people check it out. There's also a podcast accompanying this program. And so Cotton argues that the birth of the United States was actually in 1776 rather than 1619, because he doesn't want to take ownership of this country's history with slavery. So he told the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette the following: "We have to study the history of slavery and its role and impact on the development of our country, because otherwise we can't understand our country. As the founding fathers said, it was the necessary evil upon which the Union was built. But the nation was built in a way, as Lincoln said, to put slavery on the course to its ultimate extinction." So that's an incredibly interesting way of reframing this country's history and why slavery existed in the first place. But before I give you more details on this story, Emma, I wanted to give you an opportunity to jump in.
It's this facile conservative perspective that everything has to have been right in its current context and nothing can evolve. Because if Cotton was to admit that some of the founding fathers were racist and wrong, then that might mean there might be some people in this current historical context who are racist and wrong. And who would that logically be? Oh, the authoritarian serial killer, Tom Cotton. Might have been him, I don't know.
Is anyone really shocked that this would come from a man who published an op-ed in the New York Times calling for federal agents to crack skulls when it came to the Black Lives Matter protests, right? He's the one who published that op-ed saying that federal agents should absolutely rain terror on these protesters. And so Black Lives Matter, that kind of messaging, that kind of protest obviously triggers him. So I wasn't shocked at all that he would have this kind of reaction and say something so incredibly twisted during this interview. But he was also interviewed with Fox and Friends, and this topic came up. So let's just take a quick look at how he dealt with that, and we'll discuss.
Some say that was insensitive.
Well, that is fake news, Brian. That's not what I said. What I said is that many founders believed that only with the Union and the Constitution could we put slavery on the path to its ultimate extinction. That's exactly what Lincoln said. Of course, slavery is an evil institution in all its forms at all times, in America's past or around the world today. But the fundamental moral principle of America is right there in the Declaration. All men are created equal. And the history of America is the long and sometimes difficult struggle to live up to that principle. That's a history we ought to be proud of, not the historical revisionism of the 1619 Project, which wants to indoctrinate America's kids and teach them to hate America, to believe that America was founded not on human freedom, but on racism, to think that slavery was not an aberration, but the true heart of America.
I don't know, dude, maybe this could be both. There could be great principles in the Constitution, and then also slaves, Black people, were 2/3 of human beings. I mean, or 3/5, sorry. Like, come on, it can't, it's complex, and that's fine. And also, he hates the New York Times and their liberal indoctrination so much that he decided to publish his opinion piece in the New York Times.
Right, exactly. No, and this country's history was brutal, but one thing that's always missing from these discussions is the fact that what this country currently does is brutal, not just here in the United States, but abroad. I mean, we pretend as if like, oh my God, no, that's just a part of our history. That was the original sin. We've evolved, we're much better than that. I mean, never mind the fact that, we're brutalizing Black and brown people out on the streets right now for practicing their constitutionally protected right, being out there protesting, making sure that their voices are heard. we're gonna send federal agents and crack their skulls, but pretend like we got over our original sin. It's nonsense. And we're maiming and terrorizing Black and brown people in other countries as we speak right now. Right now. Our actions in Libya. What happened when we overthrew Muammar Gaddafi? What happened? I believe there was a slave trade that followed that, correct? I mean, it's ridiculous because it's not just about the United States. If we focus solely on the United States, yes, there are still serious issues and we do have to take ownership of this country's history. The revisionists are people like Cotton, are people like the conservatives who serve on the Texas school board who want to rewrite history books and take out people who have fought aggressively and won incredibly important battles in this country. People like Cesar Chavez. I remember years ago, they wanted to take him out of the books and replace him with Phyllis Schlafly of all people, right? So that's the revisionism that I think we should be focused on, while also simultaneously taking ownership of what we're currently doing to Black and brown people, not only in the United States, but all over the world.
Well, facts over feelings, Anna, right? So he wants us to feel a certain way about America, which is patriotic, unabashedly, emotionally, all in with the spirit of the United States by disregarding everything that might have been bad and just taking the Constitution on its good faces, when there was the 3/5 aspect of it when it came to the American Constitution that was in the text. So those are the facts. If you want to actually be your traditional conservative self, you might want to acknowledge that part.
So just to give you some more information on what Cotton would like to do, his legislation labels the project a distortion of American history. If Cotton's legislation passes, school districts that embrace the curriculum would no longer qualify for federal professional development funds, money that is intended to improve teacher quality. Listen, I'm an Armenian. I know what it's like to live in a country that denies the Armenian genocide. This country is all about denial, as long as it supports whatever political agenda America wants to carry out. And so they don't want to ruin their relationship with Turkey. They're going to keep denying the Armenian genocide. Every single presidential candidate in modern history has run on a platform claiming that they're going to acknowledge the Armenian genocide. Every single one of them, including Donald Trump, reneged on that promise. This country is all about denial. This doesn't surprise me, but it's really incumbent upon us, people who are truth tellers, to keep screaming the truth and making sure that it's heard.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.